You got a couple of baby hairs sticking up.
I always do.
It's that static electricity here. Don't worry about it. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everyone. Welcome to the Morning Muffin Show. It's been a few days. V, how are you? How was your trip? You're back now.
I know it was short. It was just longer. It's all mostly training. So I wish I had more time to explore Texas. It looks like a really fun city to visit.
Yeah, and that was Austin, right?
Houston.
Houston. That
Yeah.
would be fun. Yeah, I've never been to Texas. I hear it's gorgeous. So, but it's so big. You can go like anywhere.
Yes. Yes.
Well, today, you guys, just to remind you, I'm Jennifer Cotis. I am with the Morning Muffin. This is V Dam, and we're both with Keller Williams Integrity Lakes in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We were both licensed realtors. We both represent buyers and sellers. And today we're going to talk about perspectives because you are out early in the morning showing houses. I have some that I'm listed and that I'm going through and like the showings and the feedback and stuff like that. And I think today would be a great day for an update because we just got back, some of the numbers from February and some predictions for this market yesterday from, the Minneapolis Area Association of Realtors, as well as some transactional companies that do paperwork essentially for real estate agents. And we got some of their statistics and numbers over the past year. So from year over year, pandemic starting last March to now. So anyway, how did your showings go this morning?
Well, my client ran late, so I had to preview the home myself. If I get her the approve, then I'll bring her back. But just not trying to save her time and my time and respect everybody else showing, because as you'll know that showings nowadays just packed.
And that there's people that, if the home is vacant, there's agents that are allowing overlapping showings, which is not recommended by COVID. Like I've talked about this with a couple of my other mentors. Like there are people that are gonna get us in trouble. Like there are too many people going through houses at a time. People are bringing parents and children it's one thing to bring in the people that are actually going to buy and live in the house and make the decisions, but you can't bring the parade that we used to bring in back in the days before COVID.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that you go and preview homes. I always talk about the time that I do preview homes as well, and it's helpful to like know if it's going to fit or not because sometimes we can't tell pictures, and sometimes you just want to get like because you can't always see the layout through the pictures. So you want to get a feel for the house. And if you know a client really well, you can do them a great service by going to look at the home ahead of time. I bet your clients really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I do this quite often. It's just like with busy life and work from home and the kids, and it's just really hard to narrow down a time that can see the house with this busy showing schedule. So it's just been crazy. So we have to be really creative when it comes to showing.
Yep. Do you do virtual tours and video
Yep,
tours and things like that with your
yep,
phone?
I do.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love that. And the fact that you are also in the homes and you do it so regularly, the inventory like the back of your hand.
Yes. I think I know all. So I know there's certain price range, certain area. In Woodbury, I think I know really well anything below 350. because I've been looking for it for almost a year now. And it's just really interesting to see how all the pricing play out. It's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Um, I want to talk about the numbers came back for February and over the past pandemic. And yeah, I saw the anguish in your face flash there for a minute. It is an extreme seller's market. And I think one of I was talking to a colleague of mine yesterday, Dana Carson, which you know, Dana. And he was talking about how sellers, they have a lifestyle now that they don't want to change for showings and things like that. Like especially with COVID, they're working from home. The kids have been distance learning. They don't want those showings, and like I said, some people just are really inconsiderate and they just bring way too many people to the showings and stuff like that. And they don't want to get the house ready anymore. They don't want to get it like perfect and clean because we're all exhausted trying to fit work and life together under the same roof now. That it changes. You can't compartmentalize things like you used to do, and it takes a toll. And people are more protective of this newfound lifestyle, right? So it's sellers, instead of selling, are just refinancing, and they're just finding a way to extend this lifestyle a little bit longer. I spoke briefly with someone a few weeks ago, I think Jody Hippen, because she's a loan officer, about talking to her refinance clients about refinances and about the possibility of selling, because she's pre-approving buyers. In the same hand, or in the opposite hand, she's refinancing potential sellers. So we are left with, the numbers are staggering. We have 75% homes for our buyers. So what does that mean? So we have less than one home for every buyer out there. We have, one home has potentially 25 offers on it, and only one of them is going to get it.
Yeah, that's been crazy. It's normal. It's a new normal now.
It's a new normal. It is a housing shortage. And, and it doesn't affect the higher priced homes as much as it does the normal, everyday, 3-bedroom, 2-bath city home. Because out in the suburbs, they're building big homes. I mean, you've seen them, but they're not like in that affordable price range. And so, and it's just hard. It's hard to find that. And, if you're driving into the city, 45 minutes to an hour in the wintertime on icy roads, it's not even worth it. And so these buyers are just getting outbid on homes. It's causing the home prices to rise in the city.
Yeah, I know. And that also results in rental price, that increase, just because people are going to stop buying at some point and they want to keep renting. And again, the demand for property for rent up, the price is going to be up. So I really hope that some magical power happen to bring more houses on the market.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think you and I need to find our own developer, and we need to find a way to bring affordable housing to the metro area. Like none of these like large 2,400 square foot homes, let's bring back bunk beds, you guys. Let's bring back, homes that, are livable.
I feel like everything is increasing. Just even if we're gonna find a builder that willing to build affordable houses, plumber prices are up in the roof right now, and it's just like everything is it's like it's so weird. This is so weird. I talked to realtors that work in the business for like 20 some years. He said this market is super new to me. And he was
But
like,
they're
ever.
building like affordable homes, like where you are, where you were last week in Houston. You can get a brand new build for 250,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so these builders around here, they can tout those prices and stuff like that. But yeah, let's really dig deep into the true cost of it all. Let's dig deep and look at why it's so much more expensive to build a house here
the
in
land.
Minnesota than it is in Houston, Texas.
I think there's a few reasons, right? We kind of have to kind of like bring materials from somewhere else. So that's
Well, most
one.
lumber in the United States actually comes from Canada.
Yeah, so like and then I think that the land here is a little bit more pricey,
Mhm.
and because we have to build the basement,
Do we have to though?
some so some lot we can't build slab on grade. With because of the water tables, and I mean I get my toes dipped in new construction world. But I'm still learning because my ultimate goal is still come back and making houses more affordable. I really want to learn about the new world so that I can figure out what is the reason why for everything so expensive. I unfortunately can't answer that yet, not yet.
I know. I love it. You're learning so much. Listen to you talk. I'm like beaming with happiness. I knew V when she was first becoming an agent. She was asking really great questions. Now I'm asking the questions and she's answering them. I love this, V. You have turned in such a wonderful agent.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know. Buyer perspectives. I know I have some buyers and people are busy now too. People have a lot on their plate and they don't necessarily want to do the work in the house. We don't teach the trades as much anymore. People don't have shop in high school. We don't have home ec. Like we're with all the classes that like teach you the things to do in the house. The school system kind of expects us to learn from the house. But as jobs increasingly turn to IT and marketing and finance, those trades are getting lost in the homestead. So what we are seeing is people wanting move-in ready homes and the work already done. But that's really hard in today's market with the pricing that everything is. Like you have to expect to get a little sweat equity out of your home if you want a certain location, a certain price point. I mean, sometimes your price point dictates where and what you get right now. So you don't get a choice of, like here's a catalog of homes that fits your price point. Like we always talk about it being location, location, location in real estate, right? And it's true. It's true. What you can afford, coupled with your debt to income ratio and your credit score and your handyman abilities, really will determine what you can or can't do or live.
Yes. And I think on the opposite side of it, because of you mentioned that they the house need to be move-in ready, so the buyers now expecting the house to be if they pay for the high price, they're expecting the house a little bit more perfect than normal, right? But we have seller on the other side thinking that the price is very high right now and they do not need to do anything to the house to be able to get the house that the neighbors get. So it's a really conflicted interest of the both party, and it's really hard to find a win-win situation in this market. It just make our job a little bit harder, but we just have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah, yeah. And I always, I don't know if you use this analogy. I'm sorry, I have to like sit up on my chair. I might have lower back pain today. So, uh, mm, I got distracted when I did that. Um, the whole conflicted thing. Okay, so I don't know if you use this analogy with your clients, but I use it a lot with my clients about your relationship with a house is a relationship, and they aren't able to talk to you. So you have to be able to interpret what they're saying and listening. So the things that we do know about the house, as if it was a person, right, is the age, right? So, for example, a client's just got accepted into a home. It was in St. Paul. It's 1911, and there's some old knob and tube wiring in the home. There is an older roof, and there is like a support beam in the basement that it's doing its job. It'll probably need to be replaced. That home is equivalent to 110 years old. So if that was a person and they were 110 years old, I just look at that support beam and I think, oh yeah, it needs a hip replacement, right? It maybe had some problems downstairs, and then the bad roof, it needs a haircut from time to time, and about every 30 years for a house, and maybe it needed it a little while ago. And then the knob and tube wiring, it's just, Grandpa says the darndest things, right? So it's just antiquated technology that needs to be replaced. And, it's up to interpretation on whose job is it to replace those. Is it, when you go to buy a home, it becomes your job and your responsibility, right? So, and you can't just blame someone else for it. If this was a person, you can blame, the parents and the way they grew up, but they were 110 years old. They've had a lot of life, they could have had it changed, but they didn't, right, Grandpa?
Yeah.
So anyway, figuring out what kind of relationship your client wants to be in is very important. It's like you become like a matchmaker.
Well, yes. And unfortunately, we have like 20, 30 maker for one house, right?
I know, right? Oh, okay. Well, we're running a little long, B. I sent you a list of topics for the next 8 weeks. I do believe we are going to be switching to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday format. So we're going to be skipping Tuesdays and Thursdays because as we all start getting too busy, it gets really hard to commit. And I want to make sure that I am keeping your time precious.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I will see you next week then.
Yes, or before that if we run into each other.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.